Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
I mean,
first of all,
is that the best way to put that? Is it Christmas Eve or is it like deer season Eve? It's as good as Christmas Eve as an adult for me now.
Yeah, but I feel like it's almost like, in the Jewish tradition, we, instead of getting one wonderful night, we get 2.5 months of
wonderful
awesomeness.
Time. Yeah, you're right. It is. So I think you're saying that hunting is like being Jewish.
You light the menorah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Did I
one
get that
right
right?
after another.
Did I
Yeah,
get it right?
I think you did. Yeah, you did. So, well, either which way, I'm definitely more excited about the opening day of deer season than I am Christmas. Is that bad for me to say? Or
No.
is it better for me to say that I'm more excited about it than Hanukkah, which I don't celebrate.
Because you're a bad Jew.
But I am excited about Christmas trees this year.
Because
Crappie
that
motel.
is a crappie sanctuary.
Yeah.
Get them and sink them and then plot them on your fish finder and
Yeah.
good to go, bro.
I've been watching some how some guys are doing them just to kind of like I had this mental image of how I was gonna do it, and so I didn't think about the tree like slumping over. So this guy like takes like a jug, filled full, just like an empty jug, and like ties that to the top of the tree, and that will like sink, like the weight that you put it down sinks that, but that floats the top up, so it keeps it like straight up and down. Which I thought was a pretty good idea.
Yeah, but what's the legality of that? Like on a public, like I know you can run jug lines, but jug lines are supposed to be able to be removed with all possibilities. And
this guy was doing it on Sam Rayburn, and was, I don't know. It may not be legal. I'll have to do some investigation, to be honest with you. This dude was on YouTube doing it.
yeah, just
He
because
was
it's on
in
YouTube,
Texas.
I promise you that does not make it legal.
And he did leave the legality. We are going to have a guy we may be able to ask a little later. I mean, this is going to be 2 separate podcasts, but it is being recorded in one foul swoop. We're going to have Chris Farrell on, and we will be able to maybe ask him.
I bet he skirts it like a true government employee.
Yeah, he's like, I think you should probably consult a game warden.
Yeah,
yeah.
That sounds like a game warden question to me.
You should call
Which we still are
Gary
looking for
Miller.
a game warden to be on this podcast. So if anyone knows of game wardens,
we're putting
that
the
would
call
be-
out.
Yeah.
Because the one I did call was like, not only no, but fuck no.
Just because he didn't want to be put in that position of being asked legality questions.
It was a woman. She was like, I will never do that.
She didn't give a reason? Like,
No,
just,
she
I'm
was
never gonna do that.
not pleasant
Click.
about it at all. Yeah, she was not pleasant about it at all.
It's one of those things. Like, I mean, you if you put yourself in their shoes, like, like how many people are just like in today's day and age? I go both ways on the whole argument about like, yeah, there are some bad apples in the police forces and game wardens and all that, but like most of them are pretty awesome.
The large majority of them are.
But like the thing is like there's so many people out there waiting to just roast somebody.
Yeah, just
like it's like in the hunting world. Like when you do a podcast like this, or you're on social media, like there's guys out there for some weird reason that are just waiting to bash someone to be like oh. You didn't get anything when you went out? It's because you're a shitty hunter.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, or, oh, you said that? I read the law book, and you're a game warden. You should know that was
just
not true.
Looking to entrap somebody in a bad argument.
Forget all that, man.
F that. Yeah, I know those people are better for what they do because they deal with. I mean, every game warden I've ever come in contact with in the field has been absolutely 100% the nicest could be. Now, that could be that I was not doing a damn thing wrong. I was like, as they roll up, I'm like, here's my license, here's my ID, here's my hunter safety card, here's my gun, here's my bow. So it helps if you're not doing anything wrong, then they're going to go, okay, this is a cool visit then. We can sit and chat and not have a... are you going to let me look in your cooler, or are you not going to let me look in your cooler,
Yeah, and
I just open my cooler up.
That goes with everything. When you're very cooperative with the local game warden, that guy is just doing his job.
Dude, 100%.
So, that also gets you, like, not that I'm saying, like, do little infractions, but, like, if you're afraid of a game warden because you don't know certain little laws, most of the little stuff, they'll just inform you that, hey, man, like,
dude, perfect example. I forgot to fill out the like the back of my license.
I got busted for that same thing.
Right? Not the tag, but like the log.
Yeah,
right?
I don't have mine on.
And I had the tag, so I'll take like when I shoot a deer, I'll take the tag, and it stays with the meat until I process it, and it's done. Then I take it and I put it in my truck. So if anybody asks, I'll be like, here's my tag. Here, I mean, it's clearly ripped off. Here's what I did. Everything. Ooh. We're in Dog City, so. And, dude, when I was at Lake Meredith, the guy was like, dude, you didn't fill your log out here. And I was like, I've got the tag right here. It was a mistake. He's like, no problem, dude. Just fill it out for me real fast. He's like, just make sure you do that because some dudes will bust you hard for that. And, like you said, little infraction. It wasn't like some grave, like, infraction. And he just was like, dude keep a lookout.
And the game warden I got was actually an a-hole. I mean, he was straight up an asshole. Either he'd been dealing with, like, so the whole story is we went out to PK, Possum Kingdom, and we, being the people we are, I know nothing outside of, like, the hunting and fishing world, and I don't even know everything going on with that. Yeah. So me and my buddies were like, we're going fishing on PK. Well, ended up being that we figured out that Red Bull was having a cliff diving contest at Hell's Gate. So we rolled over to Hell's Gate, and there's just, like, people everywhere.
Yeah, just like,
and it's crazy, and there's, like, the wakeboarding boats, just people just getting hammered.
Just being idiots.
We were out there to fish, everyone that listens to this podcast probably knows that, we weren't not drinking, but, like, the driver was not, actually. Yeah. I have responsible friends as well, and that pays off for me.
Exactly.
But the game wardens were out in, like, full effect, and they stopped us once, and we were fine. The guys were super cool. They were like, we did what you're talking about. We're like, here's our throw, here's our life jackets, here's our whistle, here's the extinguisher, here's all this stuff. And the guy was like, all right, and, like, my buddy that was driving did have a beer, but he was sipping on the beer. Yeah. So he wasn't, like, just like I was, poking holes in him and getting him down.
Exactly.
And my buddy goes, I've had a beer. Here it is still. Here's half of it. I'm just sipping on it, like the legal limit on a boat is
0.8.
I mean, so it's not much, but, like, sipping on a beer, not a big deal. So he looked at my buddy. He goes, thanks for telling me the truth. I could smell it on you when I was talking because, he was pretty close to us because he was right
up there against the boat.
Right up there against the boat. And so he was like, all right, kind of did a quick little, like, let me look at your eyes kind of thing. And he was like, all right, y'all guys, stick to that one beer and you guys are good. Thanks for having everything open for us. So we went on. Got pulled over by another game warden boat. Same thing happened except for the beer thing. He didn't ask anything about beer. He was just like, hey, all right, y'all guys show me everything. We asked that guy, we're like, so where are the bass biting at? And, like, give us a tip, and he was like, man, I would go try this cove over here. So we were running out of the cove, get pulled over by a third game warden boat. And this guy, I guess he was done with everybody that was on that lake. Cause I'm sure people have been shitty drunk.
Yeah.
Everybody he's talked to, just probably having a bad day.
Yeah.
Well, same thing. We had everything out, all this stuff. Pulled out our license, showed him what was going on. He looks at my license and is like, "You didn't fill out the back." And I was like, "I've never filled that out in my whole life."
Yeah.
Like, I fill my tag out. I do.
Yeah.
We in my dear lease that my dad's on, we fill out a logbook. I fill out that. I mean, there's so many checks and balances except for that. Like, and
it's one of those things that's just like I
don't
quite understand
think about it.
The reason for it. I mean, I guess I don't understand. Like, if you don't have a tag, then You clearly filled it out. You clearly did something proper, right?
I mean, so what that actually is for is, in case people don't know, that states like I killed it in this county.
Okay.
On this,
tract of land.
Because some counties, they have like a 1 buck limit. Just because you get all your tags doesn't mean the county you're hunting in has that. So it shows where all you've done.
So you killed it in,
is that
Taylor
a
County.
great? Yeah, is that a great system? Probably not.
Well,
but that's what it is, and that's.
I think it should just be all like online registration. Like you just like take a picture of your tag, you note where you're at, and then the state will have like some detailed records of like.
I'm sure there's people that don't want to add complications in it, but I mean, and who knows what happens after that? I'm not a lawmaker in that sense, and who knows? But he just kind of gave me this whole speech about it and was like, just this is this much of a fine. And I was like, dude, like every game warden I've talked to has never mentioned that to me. And he was like, well, what county was that in? And luckily, I know where it's at, and I told him, and he was like, that is one of the only counties that it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter how many deer you kill.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'll tell you what, you need to start filling that out. He was like, Bob, gave me the whole like, if I ever catch you doing this again,
I'm not mad, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, like,
okay, Dad.
And then he gave my buddy like the worst sobriety test like ever that you could get, a boat-to-boat sobriety test with boats flying by you.
Yeah.
So he's holding the pin like, watch the pin.
Watch the pin.
And the pin's going up and down and left and right.
Yeah.
And he's not even holding it still. It's like wobbly and stuff like that. And finally my buddy was like, man, let's pull over on the bank.
I'm
and I'll do
sober enough to
I will do a full I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm like, let's go over here on the land. There's a dock right there. I'll do this whole thing.
I'll do whatever you want. Like, just get me off of this freaking lake where people are all over the place.
And he got like super mad at my buddy.
Ugh.
And the other guy that was with him was like, you're obviously not
stalling.
Yeah. No, he was like, you're obviously good, dude. He's like,
yeah, the other
he kind of like did like the,
hey, dude, come.
whoa.
Yeah.
Like, like the buddy other cop like that. Hey, man, I think I see someone over there doing something bad. Let's go over there. And the guy's like, like, and they took off. So
you're like, that guy over there is clearly is doing something wrong. This guy here is just like, would you please administer the field sobriety test on the land that is 20 feet that way so that I don't have to deal with this? Like
far. Like, I don't even think it was 20 feet. Like
anytime, I would think that anytime somebody is like, I will gladly do this just right over there where I can do it on solid ground where you can understand and you can walk away going, okay, cool, that guy wasn't drunk. So you guys were on, so we had a slight break there just for everybody to build some context into why we have this start and stop.
Yeah, weird little start.
We were
just be cool. Game wardens is where we're at.
Just be cool. You be cool to the game warden, and the game warden will be cool to you. But we had this little awkward pause because we had to stop and record an interview with Chris Farrell, which is a podcast that should be coming out shortly, as just a preseason to the deer thing. So to get into the meat and potatoes of what Jordan and I are going to talk about, we're doing like a before and after, right?
Yep.
Pre-game, this is like Sunday morning, 9 a.m. in the morning, like the ESPN.
5 hours we're waking up and leaving this place.
Yeah, 5 hours we will be on our way to the deer stand. So expectations. Mine personally, I think we've got some good stuff. I think we're going to sit maybe a little longer than we anticipated sitting. Mm-hmm. I think we should at least go to maybe like 1 or 2. And that way we maybe be able to catch a little bit more of the midday movement, catch some of those guys moving, because I guarantee you some guys are going to get down around 10 or 11 o'clock. And if we can stay till at least 12, then we're going to be ahead of the game.
Well, and I don't know which way we're gonna put this stuff out, but like what we talked about is we think there's going to be a later movement confirmed by Chris on the other podcast, and
due to the moon.
Due to the moon.
Yeah.
Tonight the moon's a little big, so it's pretty bright outside, and it's hard to tell when you're in the city because we're sitting here in the city, but Chris is actually out
in the country.
And so we're looking at a later movement, so we're gonna do a longer sit. The wind from what predictions is on the weather apps and stuff like that look like it should be good from where we have stand placement. We've picked this spot pretty good, I think, actually. We have food, we have water, we have all the stuff. We have
cover, a lot of tight, it's a lot of thick ass cover back there too. So.
Right, and then we have pictures. The thing that messes up on this, but we're gonna keep it going good. It was the rain that came through.
Yeah, the one thing that I will say is that on that podcast that we just did with Chris, he kind of mentioned, he's like, well, because I that was my thought, right? That our cameras like the deer movement stopped when the rain started, because I think that spread them out because of that water they had available closer to bedding. So a couple days later, we've gotten a little bit of rain. I mean, it's still going to be wet out there. There's no doubt. But I think also, too, we've gotten, just hopefully more of the water is kind of soaked into the soil, and maybe they'll come back. He seems to think that they should come into that to that water source that we're on. So, hopefully we're right there in a perfect spot for them to be, coming into.
Well, I mean, time will tell, and like Abe said, what we're doing is these are our plans. This is what we're doing to prep for it, and then hopefully, good or bad, we're gonna cut from where we leave off and tell you how it went down.
Absolutely. So, prediction time. How many deer do we see? How many pigs do we see? How many squirrels do we see?
About 1 million squirrels.
1 million squirrels? Okay.
And probably a handful of... I can't decide which one. I was going to say hogs, but... my experience so far is I don't really see that much, but we've have trail cams that show good movement. So, I mean, I think we'll see a handful of animals in general.
I'm hoping so, too.
I don't know which way it'll be thicker on, but I'm really hoping that we see both.
Yeah. So, my prediction is I think we see no deer. I think we see 2 pigs, maybe a pig, and a gajillion squirrels. But I say that my safe bet is that you hear the ducks splashing in the water and lose your mind and get down. I'm glad you didn't bring a shotgun, because this would have probably turned into a teal hunt real quick. Screw it, man. I hear ducks.
Well, it is what it is,
right? You better be glad, wood ducks. You be glad. I'm half tempted to bring my fly rod as well.
See, and that's how you don't hunt very well.
No. I would obviously not trade the hunting for the fishing, but we are going to have to leave, and we may be able to get a line wet on the way out or something.
No, I mean for sure, but like my experience, we talked about this a little bit beforehand, is the fact that when you come prepared with too much,
and
it goes like if you're 100% ready to kill a deer, probably not gonna see a single deer.
Yeah.
If you're barely prepared, you're gonna see a lot. But it also works for other gear. If you decide, I'll take a fly rod for the way out, you're going to get bored halfway through and be like, I can hear carp splashing. I'm going to go try to snag me a carp or
Yeah.
You're going to go down to the water and you're going to fish. Especially you, because you are, like, we started this podcast with the intent on talking about our deer hunt, and you started talking about crappie fishing.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I have a problem. I'm amazed at, like, I have transformed into, like, fishing has gotten into like, I really enjoy it. Like, I have a hard time being around water and not being like, I need to get a line wet here. I don't even care what I catch. I mean, obviously, crappie is my, sickness. And I think we're going to have Tommy Etzel on the podcast soon, who is, he works for Bonehead Tackle, big crappie guide right here in Dallas on Ray Hubbard, which is our local lake, or my local lake. And that'll be fun. But back to deer. See, this is how rabbit trails happen. But yeah.
You stopped yourself, though. I'm proud.
I did.
I was going to let you go.
I was like, oof.
Hey, Joe Rogan.
Smoke rocks. Yeah, smoke rocks. But yeah, I think we're going to. I think it's going to be nice and cool. It's going to be in the 60s when we wake up, and when we get out there. So I think it's going to be. That's like compared to what it was opening day of deer season last year, which was 97 degrees, 98 degrees. It should be way better. So.
Well, I mean, we're going to have a definite better chance of movement all through the day due to the low is 60, the high is 80?
80 something, like 84, I think. 88 maybe?
But you got to look at it as
81 degrees.
Yeah, 80 degrees and anything in the 90s is like two different worlds. Completely.
Oh my God. It's night and day difference. Low 80s versus mid 90s. That's cool. That's a big difference. So
the weather should give us decent movement, and that's where we're gunning on is even though the moon's full, they might stay friskier later on in the evening.
True.
Early morning. I guess.
So there is a guy who has a stand on my walk in. There's a guy who's got a stand. So if we beat that guy to his stand, he should push deer back to us. So we just need to be in there before him.
And that's why here in
8 minutes.
8 minutes?
Yeah.
We're going to go rest our little heads on pillows and
maybe right
wake
now.
Up and... Is that it? We calling that?
I think so.
Well,
we're going to see some... I think we're going to do good tomorrow. Either which way, it's going to be fun as shit to sit in a stand and hunt deer for the first time in a year.
Yep.
Well, not in a year, but,
Well, and this is where my head turns off of fishing and onto...
Big game. Yeah. No, I feel you, man. I just think there's room for both. I want my cake and I want to eat it too. So, but we got the element arrows in the quiver, the bone broadheads, and we're going to whack and stack. Now, here's the deal. Jordan and I are going to be sitting in the same stand because we're going to be filming this hunt tomorrow. And we've made an agreement that Jordan shoots pigs and Abe shoots deer. So, I think you're going to win. I think you're going to be shooter tomorrow. You're going to go from filming to shooter like that. We're going to hear them woods tear open. We're going to be like, oh, pigs.
Well, as much as I like shooting pigs and eating pigs, I really hope that's not the case.
I do too. I mean, I hate to say that, but I really hope so too. I'd love to see, like, just I'll take a doe. First legal animal.
One of those big old bucks that are on film.
That'd be awesome. We have 2-3 really nice deer on camera right now that are coming right through that area. So, hopefully, fingers crossed, one of them is like...
Slip up.
I need to get a drink of water. I got cotton mouth real bad. What? I'm interested to see what those broadheads do.
Man. Oh, those micro diameter arrows should, I mean...
Man, I'll tell you what.
Double lung pass through.
That new bow I've got with those arrows and those bone broadheads, I was just blowing through that target where I was never able to get that kind of penetration before. I am so excited about, like, I feel like for the first time, I'm set up to be like, I'm good. I'm good. Like, my bow last year, I mean, it's a difference. So, I'm excited. That's about to be a fishing rig, though.
This?
Yeah. That's going to be a perfect fishing rig.
Dude, I have not done
that nickel-sized peep sight.
Yeah, the thing is huge.
I mean, compared to what I have, like the little.
It literally is a nickel size.
There's no.
You might be like a hair away from a nickel.
Yeah,
like a hair.
But it is like the biggest peep I've ever seen on a bow. But all right, guys. So I would say good luck to you all, but by the time you hear this, you've already seen your luck has already been there. But I will say, sitting here at 11 o'clock at night on Friday of deer season eve, I wish every one of you good luck, and I hope to hell that you tag us in your pictures at Stormwater Creek, #Stormwater Creek, and let's see what happens. We're super excited, man. God, I'm so excited. I'm more excited to go to bed right now, though.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
I'm drifting off, and you can probably tell by my voice. I'm super tired.
You're good. You don't quite have drunk Jordan voice.
Well, I'm only had 6.
Of the Coors Lights.
Yeah. So.
And you're used to drinking man beer.
Yeah, I don't do this unleaded stuff. I do full leaded.
Yeah. So, the unleaded stuff allows you to kind of go through the night. It's a long burn, not a fast burn.
Oh, man, this just gets me revved up to burn all night.
Exactly. All right, guys.
All right, y'all be good.
We'll see you in the morning with the results of this hunt. Peace.
Well.
Yeah, that was...
back at it.
So this is the post podcast. So we recorded a podcast last night, just kind of our expectations. Recorded a podcast with Chris Farrell from Texas Parks and Wildlife, and now we said we were going to go out and hunt, and we did. We woke up at 3 o'clock this morning, and we rolled out and took the boat. Started off really, really well. I mean, I had a blast. In the face of all things, we still had a good time.
Oh man, it's cliche, but you know, it's better to be out in the woods than anywhere else.
I mean, it's so nice. We saw the biggest squirrel I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was a pretty big squirrel.
That was a big ass.
I really thought about taking a shot at him.
Dude, I gotta get that stupid thing out of my car and put that little squirrel broadhead on.
Well, during practice for the upcoming season, I damaged one of my fletchings on my vein.
Squirrel arrow.
On my squirrel arrow. I normally keep one arrow that always has a judo tip in my arsenal, and then 4 arrows. I normally hunt with 3 anyways, so if I lose that one arrow, we can still just sit there and not have to worry about getting it right away. You know what I mean?
You're not stuck, I mean,
I guess I could have not worried about one of my arrows. I only need one arrow if a pig walks out or whatever, maybe 2.
Hopefully one, right?
Maybe 8.
Yeah, who knows? I just, man, what a day. Like I said, started at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we got out there super early. Of course, we're the only people who are just amazed that we're out there deer hunting. Like, oh my God, you're deer hunting? All of these duck hunters are heading out, so.
Yeah, and we were sitting out there, and you called it. I really wish I would have taken my shotgun. We had, you could hear ducks landing in the water. Then I talked Gabe into not taking his fly rod, and there was carp rolling. There was everything but
deer and pigs. I tell you that the ducks that they sounded like they were moving, but I guess just those guys set up just weren't getting any shots. I mean, it sounded like it blasted off kind of early morning, and then that was it. But it definitely fish were going crazy topwater today.
Yeah, there was a lot of carp rolling the surface. I thought some of them were bass, but I'm pretty sure most of them were carp rolling the surface and hitting really hard on the surface.
Yeah.
But
I'd catch a carp on a fly
rod. And I'm torn between. I love shooting carp with my bow. I love bow fishing.
Yeah.
But now that I'm fly fishing a little bit more, I'm with Sean. He always tells me, he's like, I get it. I don't hate people that bow fish, but he's like, I really like catching carp on a fly rod.
Yeah, man, dude, just fight like crazy, I'm sure.
I mean, they're not good to eat, but
throw them back.
And that's where I'm like torn, like as a fisher of other fish, I'm a throw it on the bank kind of guy.
You're just like
Sean's kind of like
throw a carp on the bank, huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, I get that. But with this guy, we're watching a guy on YouTube right now, just using a fly rod with a little bass foam popper, little frog popper, catching little bass in a creek. And I tell you, I mean, we sat there all day. We were in the stand by 6. We were up in the stand, like ready to go at like 6:30 this morning. Even though we started at 3.
Right. So we started early. Let's kind of start the. We got more on this, but let's kind of set the playing field. We thought we were going to be a little faster with our trolling motor on our new John boat.
We also got delayed at the boat ramp by like probably 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If that would have helped us, that would have put us, if we would have just been able to go right into the water. Instead, we had to get there. We had to wait for a guy. We had to wait. We were third in line at the boat ramp today to get in. And, super cool dudes, super nice guys. But
made some new friends.
But it just, I think that delayed us. And then, I don't know. Do you want to tell this?
Well, I was going to say, like, we thought we were going to be a little faster going out there. But, not surprising to some of the party members that the trolling motor was not really up to snuff for what we want it for.
Which I couldn't believe that 50-pound thrust trolling motor had that much trouble.
Well, and like the problem is like those things, like we're not really set up 100% on a good spot on the boat. We learned some stuff about trolling motors. I've never installed one. I've just always been on boats that already have them.
Yeah.
So they're already ready to go. Most boats, everybody knows, most trolling motors are put in the front of boats.
Yep.
And that's what this motor is already set up for. So later on in the afternoon, just kind of go ahead and say it, we figured out that we were running in reverse, which you have less speeds in reverse.
Yeah, 3 speeds instead of 5.
So we were running the whole way out there in a slower speed. It still did good.
Dude, it got us out
with the fresh battery, it got us out there, but with the current, the way it was, a little breeze, 2 guys in a boat, full of gear, we always seem to take, I always think when I get up in the stand, I took a little bit more than I probably should have. I didn't need a lot of the stuff that I took, but I'm also one of those guys that are like, well, and who knows what you're going to need.
I'd rather be prepared than not prepared for sure.
Loaded down with snacks. I had my binoculars in my bag. I had a lot of other stuff, and we were in a spot where I think our longest shot we've decided was like just under 20 yards.
Yeah.
That would have been
the absolute, like, oh man.
We could see a little bit further where we're at, there, obviously, but it would be back in the brush. We set our stand up more for thick cover, coming to a water source from feeding sources, and I think it's a great spot. I mean, we determined that we use this sit more of like almost like a scouting sit.
Yeah.
Like,
no doubt.
See what's going on, get our setup ready. So our hangers are already where we want them. Our stands, we know they're where we want them.
Which I think we've gotten set up. So next weekend when we roll out.
Yeah. So there's a lot less setup that we really need to do. So the only thing I think we really need to do is, we set out there. We didn't see anything obviously but squirrel. There were some early shots. We were closer to the lake. So this is the last weekend of teal.
Is this the last weekend of teal?
Yes, this is the last weekend of teal. So
I hate to say that, but I'm kind of.
I like teal season, but the opening of bow, I shift over to bow hunting, obviously, and I'm glad everybody's out there enjoying the hunting experience wherever they want. But the thing is I think we're a little bit close to the water. My opinion was that the shots from the shotgun obviously kind of pushed the deer further back into the woods.
Those guys were set right across from us too.
Yeah,
there was two.
Well, they weren't right across. So what do you think? Like 150 yards out from where we were sitting?
At minimum. I mean, at minimum, I would say that. Yeah. Probably they were. I mean, they were a good distance away, but they were loud enough that it was like, oh, yeah, they're right there.
And everybody knows that, like, when you're duck hunting, waterfowl, you don't have to be super quiet. So these guys were also talking pretty loud. Yeah. Like running the dog. I heard some guys running the dog, so they were yelling at the dog. Which is fine. But
hey, man, I think public land.
I think that pushed the deer back a little bit. But now we're gonna have a week of
kind of quiet.
Quiet. There's not gonna be any duck hunters out. The woods will probably settle down. Everything will kind of hit that reset button, and we're going to be ready for next weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our trail cameras didn't really show what we wanted to see, but we're going to have...
but they weren't out there that long to really get a solid picture.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I think a lot of it was just due to traffic. Guys still scouting for ducks. Guys still hunting for ducks.
Had a guy walk right through our setup.
We did have a guy walk right through our setup kind of mid-morning. Then we decided we're going to have some other people with us next weekend. So we decided to kind of go set up some other spots.
We sat for a long time, though. I mean, we stayed in the stand till, 11:40?
Yeah.
Almost noon.
And it was, like once the noon came around, everybody from the hunting ducks, started moving around 11, starting to give up and
head back
in.
Yeah.
So there was, boats going 90 miles per hour and, getting out of there. So next weekend we're set up. The major problem we had was the biggest problem with the trolling motor was we started going back and not even halfway, I'd say like a quarter of the trip back, we ran out of juice in the battery for the trolling motor.
Yeah.
And so now
it's weird because when I put it on the volt tester when I got home, it was 10 volts.
Yeah,
but it just didn't have the power.
Yeah, and like I said, we were talking outside, like while we were going, the problem was happening. The conditions of the water justify how much the trolling motor needs from the battery.
Yeah,
because it's an electric motor, and if the current is a lot stronger, than the motor really can handle and the weight of the boat. And, flat bottom boats don't cut the water very well. So you're also pushing, you're just pushing the water out of the way. So, so there's a lot more factors in there that, we run here off of trial and error pretty hard. Obviously, everyone listening to this that is regular knows that we run off of trial and error harder.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely new to this. This is something new for us, so we're trying to figure it out. And I think it's not easy, to start off and just kind of go, let's just get a John boat and let's just make what we got work. You know, I mean, we're all normal dudes, just like probably everybody listening to this podcast, and so, you know, going out there and dropping like $1,000 on something that would be like set up, it still wouldn't be that. You'd still have problems with that. You know, I mean, we don't have that. But you know, we're going through trial and error. So I think our next purchase is a mud motor, though. I think that's a smart way to go about it.
I do too, because we run in a spot, and this boat will be used mainly for getting to a deer spot, and also for duck season. And we run a lot of places in marshes and up in the timbers and stuff like that, and that's why we chose the boat we did. You know, because we don't need much of a boat. We need enough to get us there, and so.
But I feel like you could do with you know, with that mud motor, you could absolutely like, you know, tow the kayaks if we had a group going. You could, you know, put it on, get out to a spot, and then use the trolling motor to kind of get you around. You know, if we had taken the mud motor out and around to that little cove we were at, and then used the trolling motor just to kind of hit up, we could have totally turned that. That's perfect little fishing setup, you know.
Yeah, and that's what all that's about is, you know, your trolling motor is basically for slow rolling down a bank to hit some fish, and they will work. I've seen guys use them before to do what we're doing, but you know, either our battery's not as strong as we think it is, or you know, maybe those guys use 2 batteries. I don't know, but what I would rather have is a little more speed than a trolling motor can get us to get out there and get done, and have the trolling motor more for our fishing setups and for, oh crap, we ran out of gas, so the motor shoots a rod out the side of it.
Exactly.
Which, you know, who knows, whatever would happen. But all that, you know, it was a fun day on the water.
Well, we got back, so so in the morning we had the big light out front, so we got in, and then we kind of got into some grass close to it, and we were like, screw it, it's only like probably knee deep, you know, thigh deep, and so we went out and we just jumped out and started walking, which was fun. Got to test the waders for the first time this year, which they held up great.
Yeah, now's the time to check the waders for
Now's
leaks.
the time to check the waders, because we went out and we walked a good way in the water, and we got up to some chest, you know, probably waist deep water. I know I was waist deep a couple times, you know.
Yep.
And so to kind of have that going, and then on the way back, once it died, then we were like, let's try to take a shortcut, which ended up being I guess it was still a shortcut, because we still cut off that whole S zigzag through those lily pads, which would have been a bitch, but we were in some tall grass for sure. But that stuff was, I think in a mud motor, you could run off that. You could run out that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, out there. That shit was getting chest deep real quick. It felt like.
Well, and I still would love to have a airboat.
Oh my God, absolutely.
The price of those are so expensive.
Yeah.
You can get like a cheap little mud motor for not too much. We found some stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested to see what that is. I'm just so torn to just like screw it and hit the buy button right now. So I'll figure out how to pay for it later.
I'm super into that. Like I will let you buy a mud motor for us.
Yeah.
I ain't scared.
No, I know.
Of other people's money.
If we can get this that blue kayak sold. So if you're interested in buying a kayak, you got the blue kayak, which has been great. I mean, it has seen its fair share, but she's fixed up, and she's got a he foul hooked the shit out of that thing. Comes with a trolling motor, comes with a fish finder. It's set up and ready to fish, man. That thing's awesome. That's a crappie slayer machine right there. So If you're interested in the blue boat, you've seen pictures of it on Instagram. Sean from Tailwaters, I'm not going to sell it to you, so don't even ask, okay? All right, I know you've been asking me about that boat ever since I got it.
He's been super jealous of that boat.
He's so jealous of that boat. I can't believe it. But, what if he called me and he was like, hey, I will take that boat.
He'd probably buy that boat from you just to burn it to the ground.
He would just burn it to the ground. That's exactly right.
Light a couple tires underneath it.
Exactly.
And burn it in a tire fire.
Burn it in a tire fire. But yeah, if we can, we're gonna get I think we need to get a mud motor. Otherwise, we're walking next week. I'm not dealing with what we dealt with today, with 4 guys.
Man, it was so nice to.
But the weather was beautiful, though.
It was really nice. There was a point where the wind picked up, not in a bad way. We had a good wind.
Great wind the entire morning. Yeah.
It was right where we wanted it, and the wind actually had a nice chill to it.
I was like, man, compared to what we dealt with last year, opening morning, which was just straight up heat, like 90 degrees hot. It was so hot. Because we were at Pat May's last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was so hot.
Yeah, we were. That was the one where we got back to camp and pretty much stripped down.
And just were like,
shorts and laid in hammocks and took naps, like just burning hot. And it was pretty miserable for a first day, but I think the weather is going to hold out like this from what I've seen. I think there's another cool front coming through, not a cold front, just like a little cool front. So that should help out, and does that make the deer move? The deer will move when it's cooler, and
I'm interested to see what that little
the
spot.
The moon's going down, right? Like,
this
last night the moon was full. We talked about that already, and I don't think it was full, but it was dadgum bright.
Yeah,
and so they moved late last night. We were expecting them to move a little bit more towards noon.
I just kept expecting. I just kept expecting to hear. Oh, there's one. I so wanted to be like, oh, hey, Jordan. Just tap you on the shoulder, just with that. Oh shit, there's one there.
Well, and the other thing is I'm ready to sit and stuff, but my body's not. Like you gotta get back into that sitting still for hours mindset.
Yeah.
And
I have a hard time sitting, just like sitting in the stand. I need to stand up, and I can be still. I just need to, I can't sit. I sit for an hour, and then I'm like, I got to get up. And so the moon was 76 today. The moon was full 5 days ago. Dude, Monday the 8th is the new moon. So we're moving in the right direction. It'll be three quarters on October 2nd. So next week's going to be good. We're going to have to get a mud motor, man. I'm going to have to do it.
I think you should. I agree with your decisions as an adult.
Yeah. Boy, my wife would divorce me.
When this blows over, we'll get an apartment together.
We're going to get an apartment together, aren't we, Jordan? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I think we've made some good headway, and that way to come in was such a. I mean, we snuck in there, man. That was so nice to be able to walk 2 feet off the lake there. So, sorry, we got dogs in here. You know how that goes on the Stormwater Creek podcast. But all in all, a good day. Saw a bunch of squirrels. One giant squirrel. Heard a bunch of carp and bass moving. And saw, heard some ducks. So I think all in all, I give it a good opening morning. Good weather. We took something out of the woods. We got some trail cameras hung again. So
I think those other spots we found, we found one spot that we're going to set somebody next weekend, and there is obviously fresh pig tracks. For sure, some big old pig tracks.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah. Come on, cowboy.
Am I there?
Oh, you're there.
Okay. He unplugged me.
He did unplug you.
Tired of hearing me. He just wants attention.
He does just want attention. He's a little attention whore. Get out of here, buddy. Yeah. I'm excited to see what that little spot's going to hold for us.
But, yeah, we walked into that thing, and obviously there had just been rain, but there was fresh-looking tracks just through that mud through there.
In the last 2 days.
And then on the way up to it, there was ruts all through it where pigs been rooting around. And there's some good food in that area. And then I think, didn't you find a scrape?
I did. Rub. I found a rub. So, which is the only one I've seen so far. Hopefully I get one soon. Start seeing some more of them. So.
Well, we know there's something in there rubbing it up.
Yeah, there's bucks in there. So, I'm excited to hunt that place. That's our early stand location. So, I don't even really mind blowing that thing out and just kind of going after it hardcore this first month or so, because we've got our rut stands. We've got our places where we know we're gonna hunt when the rut kicks in. Because we've got some dandy bucks on camera that we're trying to go after. So I'm super excited to get some cameras back in there. We need to do that pretty soon. Maybe after next week, we're going to pull some cameras off. Especially if we got that mud motor, we may make a John up that creek and see if we can't get on some put some trail cameras out in our rut stands.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hunt that one.
Yeah, that'll be a fun stand.
That was one that, if everybody remembers last year, where we were freaking out about how we completely missed and just ignored that stand even after we were talking about how awesome it was going to be, and we had some bruisers come through on the trail cams.
Yeah.
We didn't check the trail cams until January.
Yup.
And then after we went out there and checked them, like that end of November, was it? Towards the end of November, we had just
last 2
bruisers
weeks
coming out during the day, just good. Like, one's worth 100% bragging about pulling off on public land.
On any, I mean, just to,
even non-public. But I mean, on public,
would have been. Holy crap! Talk about giant. So, but we'll figure it out. I think it's gonna be a great. I think it's gonna be a great time. I'm looking forward to doing a little bit of work next weekend, getting some public land time in. I'm super excited about that. And then hopefully get the grocery store hunt on the 12th down in South Texas. Put 2 does in the freezer. That's the goal,
Mm-hmm.
So.
As it should be.
Well, we said we'd do before and after. We've done before and after, and
this was right after.
Literally, after.
We just got back. We're still tired from walking through all that grass on our shortcut.
Oh, that took it out of me.
Yeah, we could have done a lot better shortcut, I think, by just not shortcutting.
Yeah. The battery's on the charger, so like I said, I may just pull the trigger on this damn boat motor and just be done with it and say I'll deal with it when I get the kayak sold. So
I agree with that. Well, I hope all you out there listening had way, way better of a time as far as getting something down, or at least did what we did and learned some super awesome new things for the next weekend or more in your season. And
because we had a blast.
Yeah.
It was a good time. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast if this is your first time listening, as well as give us a review. Let us know what you think. As Jordan says a lot, if there's something you want to hear us talk about, or a guest you want to have on the podcast, you want to hear on the podcast, shoot us an email, stormwatercreek@gmail.com. Go to our website, stormwatercreek.com, and hit us up on the social media at stormwatercreek. And would love to hear from you guys. Going to be some cool things coming up with BHA. Always like to throw that out there as well. Couple pint nights that are coming up, and in Austin as well as in Dallas. So you guys, thanks for listening, and tune in again next week.
Y'all be good.
Peace.